course of researching my new book, Men on Strike, Why Men Are Boycotting Marriage, Fatherhood, and the American Dream, and Why It Matters, I talked with men all over America why they're avoiding marriage. It turns out that the problem isn't that men are immature or lazy. Instead, they're responding rationally to the incentives in today's society. Here are some of the answers I found. I want to go back to what she just said in this article. She says that men aren't immature or lazy. Instead, they're responding rationally to the incentives in today's society. I want to concentrate on, of course, men are responding rationally, but I wanted to concentrate on the incentives part because I'm a big proponent of that. Incentives make the world go round. And I think clinical psychology has also figured this out. People respond to incentives. So if there's an incentive for me to do something, I will more than likely do it. But if there's an incentive for me to not do something, I will more than likely not do it. If there is no incentive for me to do something, I will more than likely not do it. So you'll lose respect. This is reason number one. Now, I don't know if these reasons are in line from least to highest or highest to least in importance, but the first one that we have is you'll lose respect. And we will talk about this in the episode as well. So I will point these out as I look over them. A couple of generations ago, a man wasn't considered fully adult until he was married with kids. Now that part there, a man wasn't considered fully adult until he was married with kids. You'll hear me concentrate on that in the episode, that marriage in the past was a thing of status for a lot of men. And remember, that's why women also like men who are married. There's also some pre-selection there. But this man obviously is of a good stature to get a woman to marry him. So marriage is a status thing for a lot of men. So I want you to remember that. But today, fathers are figures of fun more than figures of respect. The schlubby guy with a flowered diaper bag at the mall or one of the endless array of buffoonish TV dads in sitcoms and commercials. We will be getting into that. In today's culture, father never knows best. It's no better in the news media. As communications professor James McNamara reports, by volume, 69% of mass media reporting and commentary on men was unfavorable. 69% of mass media reporting and commentary on men was unfavorable. Guys, this is why I do what I'm doing, why we do this show, because this is in 2013. You can't imagine it's gotten that much better. So again, 69 unfavorable for men compared to just 12% favorable and 19% neutral or balanced. That is crazy. Guys, if you have any doubt why I'm putting on this mask, getting in front of this camera, taking my time to build the show for y'all, that stat alone is the reason right there. So if you want to know why I'm doing what I'm doing, that stat should tell you right there. That's basically 70% of mass media reporting on men is just not good. If you want to support the channel, you truly want to support the channel, like the video and subscribe to the channel. You subscribe to the channel, you're going to get new updates on new videos, new content that we're pushing out every week. So again, like the video, subscribe to the channel, help our channel grow. Get into the second one, which I think the second reason is probably one of the biggest, if you ask men, because why buy the cow when I can get the milk for free? So you'll lose out on sex. It says married men have more sex than single men on average, but much less than men who are cohabitating with their partners outside of marriage, especially as time goes on. So I want you to pay attention to that stat right there, because you're going to see that conflict with another stat from another article we go over. It says that married men have more sex than single men on average. That is true, but much less than men who are just cohabitating with their partners outside of marriage, especially as time goes on. That's the selling point right there for men, to not get married. Well, we'll lose out on sex. It's like I have more sex if I just build myself up as a man, especially as I get older. So research even suggests that married women are more likely to gain weight than women who are cohabitating without marriage. I wonder why. They haven't gotten the ring yet, so they know they're in constant competition for that guy's favor. So they better not let themselves go waste. A Men's Health article mentioned one study that followed 2,737 people for 6 years and found that cohabitating said that they were happier and more confident than married couples and singles. So number 3, I'd say this is up there as well. You'll lose friends. And we're gonna actually discuss this one here. You'll lose friends. So those wedding bells are breaking up the old gang of mine. That's an old song, but it's true. When married, men's ties with friends from school and work tend to fade. Although both men and women lose friends after marriage, it tends to affect men's self-esteem more, perhaps because men tend to be less social in general. So basically, yes, we know that to be true. Men are less social than women. Women are more social creatures. Of course, you spend less time with your friends because you have to take care of. You are now married and you possibly have a kid on the way. So I'd say that's not as high up, but it's up there. I'd say thus far. Sex is number one. Respect is number two. And this is number three. You'll lose space. We hear a lot about men retreating to their man caves, but why do they retreat? Because they've lost the battle for the rest of the house. The Art of Manliness blog mourns the decline of male space and notes that the development of suburban lifestyles intended to bring the family together resulted in the elimination of male spaces in the main part of the house and the exile of men to attics, garages, basements, the least desirable part of the home. As a commenter to the post observes, there was no sadder scene to a movie than in Juno when married guy Jason Bateman realized that in his entire house, his entire huge house, he had only a large closet to keep all the stuff he loved in. That hit me like a punch in the face. Very true, very true. I'd say losing space is up there. It's not as important as sex and probably even respect, but it's up there. I'd say because these two are pretty hand in hand, you could lose your kids and money and you can lose in court. I would say that falls at the very top. These two fall at the top. Sex comes second, respect comes third, space and friends tie fourth, right? So you could lose your kids and your money, and they may not even be your kids. So lots of men I spoke with were keenly aware of the dangers of divorce and worried if they were married and it went sour, the woman might take everything, including the kids.
You get nothing! You lose! Good day, sir!
Other men were convinced or concerned that they might wind up paying child support for kids who aren't even theirs. A very real possibility in many states. So on my blog, I polled over 3,200 men to ask how they would react to finding out that a child wasn't theirs after all. 32% said they would feel anger and fury at the mother. 6% said they would feel depression. 18% said anger and depression. 2% said none of the above. 32% said anger at the system that forced them to pay, and only 2% didn't care. One man commented that his ex-wife had taunted him with the knowledge that his 11-year-old son wasn't actually his. I was angry at the mother. I severed all ties to the boy. Some people may see this as failing. I see it as self-preservation. And to those that ask the question of whether or not the courts will make a non-biological parent pay child support, pay attention. Yes, they will. They see you as nothing more than a source of cash for the child. It seems that a person in these situations should be able to sue the real father for child support, right? So this guy, first of all, the lady, she fucked around and found out for sure. But this guy was like, I was angry at the mother and I severed all ties to the boy. People were like, oh, why would you do that?
Why? Because fuck them, that's why.
He said, no way, no how. I do not blame him. So that's a very good point. We know that the court system is stacked against men. We've all heard the horror stories. You can look at the data statistics. So, we don't even need to really go over that too much more. And that is tied into the reason number 6. That's why I put them together. You'll lose in court. Men often complain that the family court legal system is stacked against them. And in fact, it seems to be women gain custody and child support the majority of time. Yep, we already know this, as pointed out in this new ABC News article. Despite the increases in men seeking and receiving alimony, advocates warn against linking the trend to equality in the courtroom. Family court judges still tend to favor women, said Ned Holston, the founder of Fathers and Families, a group advocating family court reform. Family court still gives custody overwhelmingly to mothers, child support overwhelmingly to mothers, and courts still give alimony overwhelmingly to mothers and women, he said. The family courts came into existence years ago in order to give things to mothers that mothers needed. The times have changed and the courts have not. Yes, and we are well aware of this. This is why men are not buying into the idea of marriage today, right? In a couple of these next articles, you're actually going to see them almost trying to sell the benefits of marriage to men. So it says you'll lose your freedom. Yeah, and this is kind of tied into the other one as well. At least if you're charged with child support that you can't pay, you can be put in jail. And if you can't afford a lawyer, you don't have the right to have one appointed because, according to the Supreme Court, it's technically a civil matter. Never mind the jail time. So basically, the Supreme Court says that it is out of their jurisdiction. It's a civil matter. So even if you are spending time in jail, that has nothing. You can't fight it that way. It's a civil matter. They don't view that as in their purview. They view it as a civil matter. And let's read this one. Fathers and families found that it's the men who are jailed rather than the women. A new report concludes that between 95 and 98.5% of all incarcerations in Massachusetts sentenced from the Massachusetts Probate and Family Courts from 2001 through 2011 have been men. Wow. Moreover, this percentage may be increasing with an average of 94.5% from 2001 to 2008 and 96.2% from 2009 to 2011. It is likely that most of these incarcerations are for incomplete payment of child support. Further analysis suggests that women who fail to pay all of their child support are incarcerated only 1/8 as often as men with similar violations. So guys, there you go. There he is. They are laying it out. And this is in 2013. This is, so if you want to get married with all these statistics and all this data right at your fingertips, you get finessed when she divorces you. So the moment you get down on your knee, the moment you think about asking a woman to marry you, but the moment you get down on that knee and you present her with that ring and she says yes,
Made a serious mistake.